Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Christ and Cigars podcast. We're here with a very special episode, our first in-person meeting, at least for the podcast.
He's stealing my dog.
If you hear double, I apologize. We're kind of next to each other. And if you hear a lot of no, we're disciplining the dog. How are you doing today?
I could be better.
Why's that? What's wrong?
I'm a little sick, but
Have you tried not being sick though?
I have tried it. It wasn't for me though. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand. Well, today was your first normal Catholic Mass. How'd you feel? You never told me your opinions on it on the drive home.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about it. I mean, it was a Catholic Mass, that's for sure.
Yeah, one of the Catholic Masses of all time.
One of the Catholic Masses of all time, actually. I think it was nice. It was kind of just like any other church service. It just had more formalities and respect for Christ. That's been my main view on the Catholic faith, is they have a lot more respect for that and they use a lot more symbolism. I think that's kind of what it held up to. Gave a lesson, sang some hymns, and gave respect.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I still have not been outside of the Catholic Church. I'm gonna have to go to another one sometime. And
We should go to the chapel at my non-denominational.
the chapel.
Yeah, they have a contemporary and a traditional, and they actually have like a chapel that they do service in.
Okay. I forgot you told me that one time that they had like traditional and contemporary separated.
Yeah, so you don't have to get your sacrament of electric guitars.
The classic Protestant sacrament.
True. Baptism by electric guitar.
Baptism by hot tub.
Yes, my favorite.
Well, today's episode.
Keep it warm.
Huh?
I said keep it warm.
Of course. Gotta keep it boiling hot. Today's episode, we're gonna be talking about some hard topics that get brought up in arguments for Christians specifically. I guess let's just take it away from the top. I know you put this one down. Why don't you just talk about it
We
for a second?
we forgot to highlight which ones are ours this time. I put down problems of evil on this earth is a big one that gets brought up a lot. And this can come in the form of, why do people kill? Why do animals kill each other? Why did God allow us to do evil? Kind of like, why did he give us free will? And anything of that sort. And I mean, before I answer or like start yapping, I kind of want to know your thoughts on what you would tell someone if someone asks about evil on this earth, like why does God allow people to kill each other or something like that.
If they're asking me,
Yeah.
why does God allow them to kill each other?
Yeah, why does God allow evil on this earth?
Well, I mean, a lot of the evil that they bring up can be explained away by the free will argument. It's a little harder to explain, like, okay, why? As I was saying, a lot of it can be explained by free will, but the harder topics are stuff like cancer or diseases or natural disasters that take the lives of so many people. Those are a little harder to explain. But the free will stuff is pretty easy. I don't really have an answer for why God allows diseases to run rampant. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, that one definitely is harder. I would agree. Almost everything else can be explained free will. And I think the biggest challenge to those questions is challenging them by asking, how do you know what evil is? Because something has to be good and prescribe an amount of good for something to be evil. So without good, there wouldn't be evil. So it shows in depth a higher power, and then it shows that free will is the root of evil because God is good and what we do is evil. As for diseases and killing and stuff like that, that one is honestly a hard question that I am not sure. Um, this isn't like a super confident answer, but when I've ever thought about these, the thought comes to my mind of what if God created ways to take people off this earth because he knew they'd endure even worse pains or when their mission was done.
I mean, that could be part of it,
Yeah.
but
That's not a full on answer. That's just something I wonder about.
yeah. I mean, when I think of people arguing against like the Christian God, they always bring up the hardest topics, which are like, why does God give cancer to children? It's like I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It could be a multitude of reasons, and it couldn't be fair in your eyes, and that's perfectly valid. Maybe it's not fair. Um, but that is probably the hardest thing to explain away as, I don't want to say an apologist, but as somebody who's trying to defend the faith. It it just seems like an injustice, but to somebody who doesn't believe it's just unfair. But then also to the same people who don't believe, like, it shouldn't be the fault of something that you don't think exists. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if God didn't do it, then I mean, how do you explain why diseases exist in the first place, or how do you explain why evil exists or good exists?
Yeah. It's definitely hard to answer that. Um, and I really have no clue why. But also, at the end of the day, there are some things that we simply have to put our faith in because that is what religion calls for. We can't control God. We can't control the creator of the universe. We definitely shouldn't. There's no way we're going to understand everything about them. We don't understand everything about God, and we shouldn't understand everything about God. So yes, there should be a few inexplicables. Um,
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, there's so much more that outweighs one thing that we can't answer. It is just a hard point though, but one thing that you can't explain doesn't erase all of the evidence of God.
I mean, we can't know everything about everything, even within our enlightenment and our pursuit of scientific knowledge. Like, we still don't know all the answers to everything. So I don't understand. This goes back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago. Like, why is it so convenient that when we say we don't know, that's just a cop out, and we're dumb for believing in a fairy tale or this flying spaghetti monster. But when people that don't believe say they don't know, oh, that's just the way it is. Like, I don't think that's a very fair um, double standard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's they're just not applying the same level of intellectual honesty to themselves as they are to us. They expect that we have to prove God, but you can't prove something like that.
At least not scientifically.
Yeah, not scientifically.
Yeah. I mean, they say it themselves. They say, like, if you can neither prove nor disprove God, then how do we know he exists? And then they discount the personal experiences, which is like the only thing that you have to go off. Like, so if I can't use the scientific method to prove the existence of God, then you kind of have to go off of personal subjective experiences and what people have been through. It's not all just like, I don't know how to say this, but God doesn't, I don't want to say he doesn't work through like the lens of our scope of knowledge. Um, but he's a very personal God, so he's going to be revealed to us through our personal experiences, not necessarily to the whole world, which is another point that gets brought up is like, okay, why did Jesus only reveal himself to 500 people and not, the rest of the world? Well, it's like, I think that would, if God were to one day come down and blow the trumpets from the heavens and appear to every person on earth, well, that would kind of remove the point of free will because you'd be forced to believe. But I guess that is a good segue into that topic point. I don't even think it's on the doc, but it's like, why didn't God do that? Like, why hasn't he personally revealed himself to everybody if he really does want us all to live with him in eternal paradise? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that God wants us to make our choice. I think that God wants us to have our search and to show him our hearts. And that being given the answer to something is not always the height of the journey. Like, if I have a degree in engineering. If I went into calculus and I was given a 100% because my professor just gave me the answers to the test, I wouldn't have learned anything. I wouldn't have known calculus. I still would have been at a geometry, trig, algebra 2 level. And it's the same. I mean, whenever Christ, if he showed himself to everyone, revealed himself to everyone as God, if he does that, everyone knows he's God. Okay, well, let's put our faith in him. And then they do. But me personally, I wouldn't want to go back and study calculus if I knew it was correct and I got a 100%. Like, yeah, I already know he's God. So I didn't learn anything. I didn't do research. I didn't do anything to find out he was God. I didn't put any faith. There was no love or anything into it.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Is that
I think the growth of the journey is a large part of what makes us who we are as followers of Christ. Because if someone just simply believes that there is a creator of the universe and they say it's Jesus Christ, and then they don't read their Bible, they don't follow his commandments, they don't listen to church history or anything like that, they are not a follower of Christ. They're a believer, not a follower. And we're called to be followers, not believers. And I think there would have been a mass of believers, not followers.
I think that you raise a good point that there wouldn't be any faith. It would just be knowledge. Yeah, I mean, who was it in the story that called out for having so little faith? It was in one of the Gospels. I forgot.
Are you talking about the one where the Roman soldier comes in and says that
Yeah.
I know that you are God. So long as you speak it, it will happen. You don't have to humble yourself and come to my
I
place.
think,
You are the Almighty
I
God.
think so. Yeah.
And he called out every single one of his disciples for having such little faith that they believe he has to even be there in person to do it. But a random Roman soldier who is trying to prosecute him and Matthew would have that much faith just by seeing him do something.
Right. That's the point I was trying to make. Is that we're saved by our faith in Jesus, not by our not necessarily by our knowledge of him, because I mean, as they say, many, what was it? Many will call me Lord, but you're gonna have to help me out on that one. Forget the exact. Yeah. Read your Bible chat.
Many will say, Lord, Lord, but few will call upon the name of the Lord.
Says Matthew 7:21, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. That terrifying.
I
Cut
agree.
that out.
No, I completely agree. I think that was actually the verse that started getting me. I think this was like 6 months before you even got baptized. That like started getting me like really deep into it because it, my Instagram reels were filled with like stupidest things, just terrible memes and everything. Um, and then that one popped up out of nowhere, and it was literally just um, it was literally just an Instagram reel of someone pretty much reenacting Matthew 7:22. That was the verse, right? Yeah. And I was like, surely that's not in there, right? And then when I read it, I was like, oh my God. That is a call out, because then I thought about like what I had been doing, and I was just so lukewarm. I was just believing, but I had no genuine faith. And then I thought about what my parents were doing, and I was like, oh my gosh, we are all done for. Like, I need to step up in my faith for my family.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Like,
Yeah, I just had to step up in my faith. It was just terrifying, honestly, to think that I had been so lukewarm about everything that even though I knew he was Lord, that I hadn't been having him being my Lord.
I get scared sometimes because I feel like I'm stepping out of line and not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I really don't know what will ever be enough. And I think that's an important element of faith is it will never be enough. So that's the whole point. That's why you have to believe in his message, believe in him, and have the faith that he'll carry out his promises.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm scared of is that my heart doesn't truly want these things. Like, one, Christ is Lord, or if it's just my brain knowing it. Um, I've always struggled with feelings and processing them. So a lot of stuff I do is based off of what I think. So I'm just scared that I don't truly want it and I just know it, and that I'm not truly seeking it with my heart. That's the one thing I'm afraid of.
I, I think that has a lot to do with the culture and the people you surround yourself with. Because if you surround yourself with bad people who don't think like you, and not saying that's bad, but surround yourself with people that don't have the best interest in mind for you, then it's going to lead you astray. You need to surround yourself also with people who will help you get into heaven. Like our the Father Jerry today was telling us that it's our job for our spouses to help us get into heaven, and vice versa. So I think surrounding yourself with the right people who are on the mission with you is very helpful for not being led astray in the journey.
Yeah, it comes back to, at the end of the day, it's you are like the five closest people you surround yourself with. I mean, you are going to be affected by them, and you are going to affect them. So you need to choose who you surround yourself with closely, and choose who you are going to interact with all the time. And I think there's actually, Thomas Aquinas wrote about this. It's who you should choose to love first. and who you should spread yourself out to. And you need to develop those clear first like few steps before you move on to strangers, and you need to make sure that the before you go on to the next step, each step is rooted in faith.
I think it's important to also get involved with your church community. Hello, dog. That way you can surround yourself with people who are like-minded. It's not a bad thing to have friends who have different beliefs or act a certain way, but it's important to also spend more time with people that think like you and want to want to help you get to the promised land.
All right, do we want to get on to the next point?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one was translation errors question mark.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you when someone says translation errors in a Bible?
Do you not know like that the Bible was translated over and over and over again, and that it's just a giant game of telephone, and that there have been so many internal contradictions and translation errors in the Bible that you can't believe anything it says? Don't you know that? Goodness gracious, man.
Wait, really? No way. I didn't know that. Tell me more.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, the Bible was like written in like Aramaic or something or Greek or something. And if like it was written in Greek, then there has to be translation errors because there aren't direct word for word translations for some of the words, and that means it's all fake. Um,
Wait,
like
do we not know how to speak Greek and Aramaic then?
no, I mean there's Greek is a dead language. Did you forget? Like, come on, man.
Oh, well, I guess the Bible isn't true
Yeah,
then.
I guess it's all just a fairy tale. No, but they do have some. They do get some points for that, but people will say that okay, it's translated from Greek into Latin, into Old English, into modern English, and it's like, no, that's not how it's translated. It's translated from original Greek to English, original Greek to Spanish, original Greek to whatever language it needs to be translated from. We have the original manuscripts. I don't understand why people think that we can't just go from one to the other. It's not necessarily a linear line down the path of six different languages that's translated from the past one. It's like, well, why was the original language in Greek rather than Jesus's language, which is Aramaic? Well, first of all, he spoke Greek. Second of all, Greek was the universal language at the time. It's like
It was
English today.
It was the universal written language.
Universal written
It was
language.
the trade language
language.
because of Alexander the Great coming through and conquering so many locations and making Greek the standardized language. And it's very much so like how English is written. We like Chinese people write in English to us because and to everywhere else because it is the most known language for writing. Now, does that mean everyone's going to speak English? No. More people know how to write English than speak English, actually. And it's similar to that. They would speak Aramaic and write in Greek because it was the common trade language, and not many people actually knew how to write or speak. I mean, sorry, not speak, write or read. But when it was taught in Greek.
Yeah, I mean, they like I said, they do kind of have a point with some of the Greek words not having a direct English translation. So, for example, in Exodus, when they were talking about God having extreme loyalty to his people, that Greek word is hesed. Hesed doesn't have a direct translation, but it means somewhere in the lines of like love and loyalty. So it's stuff like that. Have you noticed like on the cross and stuff that there's Inri on the top? And every single cross that's like ever been made because Pilate um like nailed it to the cross. You know what Enri means? So Enri means Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. If you notice, that doesn't Enri doesn't have an a J because they didn't have the letter J in the alphabet, whatever they used. So it's just stuff like that, just non-issues, completely non-issues that they want to make a fuss about because it's a translation error. But there aren't direct translations for some of these words, yes, but that doesn't mean we don't know what they're saying. Like we still have language interpreters that are really good at what they do.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to quote unquote translation errors is that they're not errors necessarily. It's that Greek, Aramaic, Latin, Hebrew, these all had very minimized word counts. Most of them were coming from stems, and you would combine stems with roots and everything about this just to create words. They had very minimal words, but they carried so much meaning to them. So you can hear a very short word and it can mean so much, or you can hear a very long word, it can mean a lot less. But basically, what I'm getting at is, sorry, Andrew's handing me stuff.
What I'm just telling him
The
that
Henry.
everything, every cross that you see has that the
Yeah.
acronym on it. What's the acronym? Is it? Yes, acronym on it.
Acronym. Okay. But yeah. So basically, when you have these words with such meaning, and then you have English, which doesn't carry much meaning per word, you get a lack of depth from English words, but a increase of depth from Greek words. So we try our best to translate these, but a lot of their meaning gets lost, or the depth of their meaning gets lost. So another example is in Exodus when Moses was speaking face to face with God, right? A lot of people try and say this is a contradiction because they say that nobody's seen the face of God. But all it literally means is if you go to the Hebrew words that it was written in, because this one was written in Hebrew, because it was Old Testament.
Right.
But if you go to the Hebrew in it, it means in a personal manner. Face to face was meaning in a personal manner, not that Moses was seeing his face. It meant that he was speaking in a manner like I would be speaking to Andrew right now, but he couldn't see him.
Right, that's what I meant. I didn't mean to say it was a Greek translation. I meant to say it was Hesed was a Hebrew word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. My mistake.
Yeah. I think the funniest one is when people say that um that the biggest example of it is Jesus' name, because his name wasn't Jesus in Aramaic or Greek. And you just follow these trails of how it got translated, and then it ends up as Jesus. And it's so funny.
I'm trying to find other examples of those Hebrew words, but yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them. So one really good thing is if you're confused or feel like a verse is just not right, go ahead and look into the Greek. Try and find some Greek or Hebrew on it. Because I guarantee you, there's some more depth to it that you're not getting.
And again, it's not like these
Yeah,
words
it's not like
are.
the translations are
No, they're
bad,
just.
but you just can't encompass the depth of um you just can't encompass the depth of Aramaic and Greek. They were beautiful languages.
I would agree. But, I mean, speaking of the Bible, there's like.
Wait, we speak about the
Yeah, no,
Bible?
speaking of the Bible, there's like two groups of people that we run into. There's the people that take everything literally, and the people that understand or have the opinion that some things in the Bible are narrative stories or what's the word I'm looking for? Not parables, but they're metaphors for other things, or like just they're just stories. Let's just say they're stories. What is your opinion on the Is that even a word? You're the literaliness of the Bible, or if you think it all is, or some parts are.
Yeah, I don't think that the Bible is always meant to be taken at the word. I think you have to read into context and understand why things are. How I didn't even know that had a squeaker. You have to read in and understand why things are being said. Like, like I think the biggest examples are in Second Corinthians and First Timothy, when Paul is writing, and it's about these verses that, when taken literally, were used to oppress women, and when taken in context, were used to tell women to get an education instead of speaking. I mean, let me pull up the verse real quick.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a good point there. Like, and that's not to say that you can just pick and choose what you believe is a narrative story and what you believe is historical fact just based off of like who you're arguing against. It's more of like we took this out of here because we really didn't have time to talk about it. But it's like, what is the historical premise of the Book of Exodus? Did it actually happen, or is it just a retelling of the beginning of the Jewish heritage? And so there's one side that thinks that, okay, Exodus didn't happen because there's no historical record from that time. Like, the Egyptians kept records of literally nearly everything, and I say nearly in all caps, bolded and underlined, because they were extremely notorious for not recording their defeats. They really wanted to make themselves look the best that they could, and if they got defeated by the ocean, I don't think that looked
By a man who is scared to talk.
Yeah, I mean, if they got defeated by the ocean, I don't think that would look good on their historical
Narrative.
not narrative, but their historical image.
Yeah. One thing I have to say is, why on earth would you want to record and publicize God's wrath upon your country?
I mean,
who in their right mind would do that?
Just for context, the U.S. government doesn't like talking about Vietnam. That was a war that we lost, and could you imagine losing the largest army in the world, the most powerful military on the planet, to the ocean? I don't think they would record. I wouldn't record that. That's embarrassing.
I wouldn't either. I feel like they could have very well said, if you record this, you're gonna get killed. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would say that there's more evidence than not for the crossing of the Red Sea, but I mean,
quite a lot.
I mean, we already talked about this last episode, but I don't want to get too deep into it. But yeah, the moral of the story is that there's a moral of the story. Like, not everything is meant to be taken literal in the Bible, but most of it is, because most of it is historically accurate. At least from what I understand. I'm not a biblical scholar, not claiming to be one, but
I do want to be one, though.
I also do want to be one. I think that'd be pretty cool.
This like doesn't fit in at all right now, but it's something I remembered now that we're just talking about biblical scholars. Is there was one thing that I went to my ex's church, and their pastor said this: we should be Bible students, not Bible enjoyers. And that one, I was like, damn, because I feel like I was simply enjoying the Bible and I wasn't actually studying it, and I need to study it in more depth.
Do you have a study Bible?
I have a Philemon Bible. Do you know what that is? What? Philemon?
No.
Okay. It's this Bible where there's an app for it. You can pronounce it filament, but it's supposed to be Latin.
Firmament? You mean the flat Earth theory?
Yes.
That's okay. Hold on. That's another thing. Another example of people taking the Bible too literally is the firmament. One of my friends' mothers is a firm believer that the Earth is actually flat because it mentions the firmament like one time We can infer from scientific studies that the Earth is indeed not flat. But continue.
Is that really all you cut me off for?
Yes.
Just to say that the world is
Yes.
not flat?
Yes. Because it was kind of the last thing.
I hate you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Flaming Bible is just a Bible where it has study notes on it, and it uses this app, and you can go to whichever page, and it breaks down things verse by verse. It gives you images, it gives you insight, it gives you even some look into the Greek and Latin words that might have been used in it, so on and so forth. But it's a really good study Bible, in my opinion. And they are quite cheap too. I think I got mine for like $40 online. Pretty good.
This is for you. Take home. You were asking about it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What's the title of the book?
The Eucharist is really Jesus. For context, I'm non-denominational because I haven't chosen a denomination yet, because I haven't felt like it was truly pertinent to my faith. Because I feel like we can learn from every denomination. I feel like there's something each one does well, and as a non-denominational follower, you're not getting to the cat's dog. As a non-denominational follower, I feel like I'm able to look at an outside lens at all of these different denominations and really improve my walk with Christ by applying different things from each denomination. But I think I'm getting to a point where it feels like the non-denominational church I go to really is its own denomination because it has its own set of values. It's just not adherent to the exact, like, they adhere to their own values, so that means they are the denomination. They have elders that they that will get together and decide if there's something they want to follow, and that really just sounds like a denominational church. Wow. So I feel like it's not as open-minded, and it's just whatever the elders decide on, and it's a denomination in its own right. So it feels like no matter what, I'm going to be stuck in one, but I want to be in one, and I want to have the ability to be open about ideas.
And that's why I handed him the book called The Eucharist is Really Jesus. Just
Yeah.
going over like what Catholics and I think Orthodox think about the
Yes.
communion, about the Eucharist.
I think the largest thing that Orthodox and Catholics separate on is they don't believe that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the
The
Son as well.
filioque debate. Yep.
Yep.
That's the one reason I'll never become Orthodox is because
I
it so
think that's the
obviously
one that-
proceeds from the Son too. Like,
Yeah,
we
and
can't
that's-
be serious.
That's one of the reasons I am away from Orthodox. But funnily enough, during service today, I finally like found an answer to like what I've been talking about with governance of church, and I've never really been a fan of it. I don't think I'm ever going to be a fan of it, but at the end of the day, go for it. However you can keep your church going is what's needed. But I don't feel it's necessary, but that's okay.
Well, what do you mean by that? You said during service today you figured it out?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Pray to prayer to reveal what I need to know.
Mm,
And that came to my mind. But yeah, I really don't feel like governance is fully necessary. Like at the scale of the Catholic Church, I don't feel like there's someone who has to be over all these churches, and I really do feel like it was like that so that church daddy could get funds, because it was kind of corrupt once it started in Rome. Once they started getting power and became the main religion, it became very corrupt, and I feel like that was a large reason that Pope stayed around, honestly. But I think it became fine, and I feel like it's not necessary because it's just this one unit that controls it. But at the end of the day, that's not my decision to make. They've obviously kept their church going longer, and that's what's important.
Did you know at one point in time there were 3 popes at the same time? It's a pretty interesting story. You'll have to look into it sometime.
Interesting.
But Yeah, it's just a hierarchy. Like any church has a hierarchy. It's just like the scale
Yeah.
of the Catholic Church. I mean, we have 1.4
Yeah.
billion people, so and it's not just all necessarily one person, as far as I understand. I mean, we've talked about this, but
Yeah, there's a hierarchy,
it's a
and
hierarchy,
there's a
and
decision-making
it's
process.
just parliament, but for the church. So,
Yeah.
and
I simply don't feel like it's necessary,
that's
but
fine.
whatever keeps your church
Yeah,
going is what I've come to.
most Catholics don't think about it as much as non-Catholics do. I think just because it's such a non-issue that like we have our priest and we listen to him, and that's that. He listens to the people above him, and they listen to the people above them, and that's just how
I
it
think we've
works.
gotten very off topic.
Well,
This is something we talk about a lot because it's just it's an issue that I've been having, but it's not something I've come to an answer to, so we talk about it a lot. But we're on hard topics, which okay. We will
Well,
move
hold
on.
on. Before we do move on, I just want to say,
Oh,
eventually,
my gosh.
my goodness, eventually we will move on to a better space where we're not having all this background sound. So bear with us.
Yeah,
There's just
he's gonna move to where I am because he's gonna get my old job, and then we're gonna start making a studio because we're gonna get a house together, and I'm gonna live with him and his fiance because I broke up with my girlfriend.
it's so funny because in high school I was always the third wheel. Now look at you, silly all goose, being the third wheel to me, inferior, amateur.
I literally had a relationship going for 3 years, right? And he didn't have a girlfriend. My other friend didn't have a girlfriend, and my other best friend didn't have a girlfriend, and now they're all married. Well,
I'm getting
or
married.
engaged, and I'm single.
Hey man, that's just
Pretty funny.
just God's timing.
That's just what happens when you don't root your relationship in God.
True.
Except for I did with my last 2 girlfriends, but they just weren't there for it.
That's why I told you yesterday. You just got to get a Catholic girlfriend. Dog, animal, no whining.
Okay, we're gonna move on now. Can I move on, or are you gonna interrupt me again?
I'll try to think of things while you're moving on. Don't worry.
Okay. Ooh, this is one for you. Why are there different amount of books in different Bibles?
Yes.
This one's for you. This one I've had no issues
Yes.
with.
Okay. I can tell you
Do
what.
you want me to tell you a funny answer real
Yes,
quick
please.
that I've heard? The reason that there's more books in the Catholic Bible and the Apocrypha, you wanna know why? Some people think because it affirms the Catholic Church's views. I haven't read them, but I'm just saying that's what I've heard from a lot of different people online. It's pretty funny. But probably because there are items within the Apocrypha that line up with the Catholic Church's morals. But I'm not sitting here arguing against it. I'm just telling you the funny answer I've heard online.
Okay, so I mean, this kind of goes back to the dates in which, or why the Bible, why we even have a Bible in the first place. It was the one church at the time, in somewhere in the 300s. We don't know the exact date necessarily. I mean, some people will say 343, some people will say 390. It kind of just varies. One of the councils, they compiled all the books of the Bible, and there was originally 73. Now we go to the day 1052, or not the date, but the year 1052, I believe, was the, what is it called? The split of the two churches. The Great Schism. You go to the Great Schism.
I was going to say the Great. I don't want to tell you how I remember when it's named.
Well, we'll talk about that off cam. Anyways, the Great Schism, I believe, 1052, 1054. The Orthodox Church separates from the Catholic Church, and they become their own little thing because of the differences they had. And in like 1517, we get the Protestant Reformation. I think it's 1517. My dates could be off. I don't know, but somewhere around that time, wasn't it Martin Luther that had problems with? I don't think he had problems with the books, but he had problems with the church.
He had problems with the church. There's a lot of stuff that I have done research into on Martin Luther, and I have lost a lot of respect. Because he based his arguments on God, but he did not follow God. He literally would go out with prostitutes and everything.
Ooh, tea.
Yeah.
Spill the tea.
You can do your own research on that. I don't want to bring up and denigrate and defame someone and just talk about the maldoings of someone. But yeah, go ahead and look at that if you so desire.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't know, the Protestant So we originally had oh my goodness, we originally had 73 books in the Bible. Some people will say 72 because they want to combine Lamentations and Jeremiah for some reason, but it's 73. And then the Protestant Reformation happens, and they take out some books. Strange. So there's 66 in the Protestant Bible, and then the Orthodox Church, the Ethiopian Bible has 86. There's a lot of different biblical canons among denominations, and I think the answer just is like it comes back to the compiling of the Bible. Like, what did you put them in there to believe? It all just comes down to personal confirmation bias. And if there's books in the Bible that you don't like or that don't fit your agenda, then you take them out, or you put some in, or you put in the what was it, the Gospel of Truth or the Gospel of Pilate or this or that. I don't think those are in the Orthodox Bible, but those are just other things, other gospels that were rejected by the church in the original compiling. It just comes down to like personal church bias at the end of the day, I believe. Have any opinions on that?
Not really. I haven't actually looked into the councils that were held, and I also haven't looked into the standards that the books were held to before they were deemed canon or not. So that would be that honestly could be its own whole episode, because there's so much to it. Because there were a lot of books that had to be gone through, and then there's the Apocrypha, and then there's the Ethiopian, and then there's the Protestant Bible. So
yeah, I mean, it all just comes down, because even the Catholic Church rejected some of the books because they didn't align with what they had internal contradictions. If we would have put in the Gospel of Truth or the Gospel of Pilate or this or that, it would have had a detriment to what the church was trying to teach. And I guess you could say the same thing for the Protestant Bible and the Greek Orthodox Bible. But it's not really an issue, I don't think. I think it's good to have a Bible with 73 books just to know like what what you're listening to, or what you're reading, or what you're missing out on.
He's stuttering a lot today.
No, it's because you said I'm gonna put my dog on the mic, and then I had to think about that at the same time. It's like, what are you talking about, man?
I'm gonna put my cat on the mic.
Meow. Meow. Okay. We already talked about the historicity of the Bible. I want us to have a conversation about free will and omnipotence of the Lord. I want to hear your arguments again, because...
All right, ask me a question.
So, Jacob.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I think there's a contradiction in Christianity. I think there's a contradiction. How can we have both free will and God be all-knowing at the same time? Aren't those contradictions? If God knows what we're going to do before we do it, then I guess we don't have free will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm right.
Bible debunked.
Christianity, false.
Okay. So let's talk about this. So my first instinct whenever I hear this argument is I just want them to I want to tell them, like, stop trying to put God in your own box. He's the creator of the universe. We're not going to understand everything about him, right? That's what I want to tell them. But that's not what I'm going to do, because that's not going to get them to understand anything. But that's what I will convey, is that we're not ever going to understand everything fully about him. He sees stuff from a different perspective than we do. And secondly, the thing I like to bring up to show some perspective before I really get into talking about the subject is a way we can relate God is kind of like him being in a fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is thought to be time. And if you are in the fourth dimension, you have to be eternal. There's only one that can do that because they have to presuppose everything. So, right, that's our God. Okay? So, the way he sees things is going to be different because he's in a different dimension. And this is just putting it scientifically for people to understand, right? This may not be exact, but it is definitely how perspectives are viewed. So, if God views things differently than we do, we need to take a different view that we can understand to kind of see similarly how it would be done. So if a second dimension being, that means they only have length and width. So they're kind of on this rectangle. If a second dimensional being is seeing something, they're not going to be able to look up or down. They're going to be able to look side to side. And they will be able to go left, right, and forward, but not up. They can't jump or anything. So imagine seeing that. So now there's this thing that can only see two-dimensional objects. If we try and put a ball through that second dimensional plane, they're only going to see a sliver of it as it passes through. They're going to see an object come through, get larger in circumference, get to a peak, and then start getting smaller in circumference. Right? They have no clue that's a ball. They don't see it the same way we do. Similarly, God is outside of our understanding. He sees things in a different way than we do as well. And he can see the future of things. He can see the past, present, and future of things because he is outside of time. That is the dimension he's outside of. That is the dimension he can see that we can't, just like we can see a full ball in a 2D plane can't. He can see the entire past, present, and future. So now we want to talk about free will versus all-knowing. He puts us into existence, and he can see everything we are going to do. Just like we put that ball into that second dimensional plane, that doesn't mean we're controlling how that second dimensional being is going to interact. It was just put in there.
What was your example with the recording of the football game? Was that you that said that?
I mean, there's a chance. I don't remember that.
Okay. Are you done with your point?
Somewhat, but
Keep going.
I mean, the main idea is God is outside of our own understanding. He sees things in a different way. We are never going to understand how he sees it. We are never going to understand how a second dimensional being sees an object. But similarly so, he sees our past, present, and future. That does not mean he decided our past, present, and future. It just means he knows what is going to happen because he sees it, not because he made it happen or because he decided it will happen. He just knows because he sees it will happen. That's my point.
Okay. You make a good point. And I want to give an answer that I have literally never heard before. And I don't know why nobody's talked about this, but I'm super glad I get to talk about it today. You were mentioning how God is outside of the boundaries of time, and he can see our past, present, and future. A little off topic, but have you ever seen Infinity War, Avengers? Nah?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Do you remember when Doctor Strange went into his little time stone and saw the 14 million or whatever possibilities for the outcomes of the fight?
Yes.
I don't understand why God can't do the same thing. Okay, so let's look at it like this. God does, because he's omnipotent, know what you are going to do. But he also knows what you aren't going to do. And he also knows everything that you could possibly do. He sees all things at all times. So he knows, Jacob, whether you're going to sit on the couch like a sassy boy, or whether you're not going to sit on the couch. He knows whether you're going to blink in the next 2 seconds or not, or take a sip of water. Why are you looking at me like that? I wish we had a camera. See, I wish we had a camera. But he knew you were going to say that, and he knew that you weren't going to say that. Do you understand what I'm saying? He sees all timelines and all possibilities all at the same time. And depending on what you choose from your free will, he already has that predetermined, what's the word I'm looking for? That predetermined outcome from your choices. Pre-known, yes, that's the word I was looking for. The pre-known outcome for the choices that you make. So it's not necessarily that you're not determined to do this thing, but he knows that everything is a possibility. I feel like those things, with that answer, those things don't conflict. We can both have free will while God remains to be all-knowing. Does that make sense? Okay.
Oh. Oops. I almost knocked over the table. I mean, I think that's a really good point, honestly. But I think at the end of the day, it's another thing where we're never going to fully understand this guy. He is our Lord and our God. He created the entire cosmos, everything. So that may very well be how he sees it. We're honestly just theorizing at this point. But I can tell you they do not conflict. Because he gave us free will. Just because he knows what is going to happen does not mean he locked it. I mean, as Cliff says, he did not take a slip of paper, say, you're going to do this, and lock it in a box. And now you have to do this. He didn't program us to do it. You decide to do it, and he knows that's what you're going to do.
I think a better example I could make for the argument I was trying to make was when Adam and Eve were in the garden with God. God specifically told them, "Do not eat from this tree." Or do not eat the fruit from this tree, because he knew it was a possibility, not that he knew that they were going to do it. I forgot about that, so I had to mention it.
I wasn't saying anything.
Are we done with this point?
I
think we
so.
I think we covered it pretty as best as we could.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty difficult point that then leads into a few harder questions, like if God knows I'm going to sin and die and go to hell, well, why would he create me? And I'm curious on your answer to that.
Well, like I said before, he knows that you're going to do it, but he also knows that you're not going to do it.
But why would he create you if he knows you're going to do it?
If he knows I'm going to sin and go to hell?
Yeah, if he knows you're going to reject him, why would he let you be born still?
I guess I would say because I don't want to say he doesn't know, but he knows that that's not a predetermined outcome. He knows that it's possible for me to reject him, and it's possible for me to follow him. Like, at one point I did reject God, so he knew that I was going to do that, but at the same time he knew that I was going to eventually follow him. I think God created hell for the sole purpose of saying, hey, you don't want to be a part of my party, that's fine. I'm not going to force you to be a part of my body. But here's this place. Since you don't want to be with me, then you can sit outside. Like, the best way I can think of this is like, hey, let's say I'm a dad and I raise my son to be a Christian. Okay, I raise my son to be a Christian, and I say, hey, tomorrow is my 40th birthday. Do you want to come? And your son says, Dad, I love you and everything, but nah. I'm actually gonna move away now, and I don't want to live with you anymore. Okay, son. Well, The door's always open to my party if you ever want to come. Just let me know. And the kid just moves away, and he doesn't ever talk to you again. You're still going to have that party without him, whether he wants to be there or not. The party being heaven, obviously. So he's not going to force you to live eternally with him if you don't want that. It's all up to, again, your own free will, whether you decide to follow him or not. And he just made that place. He just made that place for the people that don't want to be with him. That's all hell is. I wouldn't even prescribe to the fact that, or subscribe to the idea that hell is a place of eternal suffering. I think the only suffering that you can have in hell is knowing that there was a God, actually, and having to be eternally separated from him. I think that's the biggest suffering you can have. Not necessarily tortured for eternity.
I agree. So my stance on that point of why would God let me be born if he knew I wasn't going to be with him is this. If you were carrying a child and you knew they were never going to love you, would you kill it?
No.
And it's literally as simple as that. Just because that child is not going to love you, I mean, unless you're someone from Planned Parenthood, they wouldn't kill it. You wouldn't kill that baby just because it's not going to love you. Similarly, everyone is a child of God. And we have less emotional attachment to these children than he does, because he literally sees them grow up in an instant. He sees all 75 years of their life. He watches them be raised, and then he nurtures them and tries to care for them as they grow up.
I mean,
you wouldn't do that, and he has a more of an emotional attachment to them than you do. And he definitely would not kill them just because they're not going to love him. Just because they're going to be separated from him at the end of the age. So dumb.
I mean, that I heard this argument before, but it's like, oh, what is it? This guy said that, like, how much would your child have to do for you to send them to hell? And it's like, well, oh, if I sent my child to hell, I would have never loved them in the first place, or something like that. It's like, God doesn't send anyone to hell. You put yourself there. You put yourself in that box. You remove yourself from that party that dad's having tomorrow. That's your choice to make.
You choose hell because you reject God. And I feel like it is within his person to give people another chance. Show him his love, and they can accept it or not. I feel at the end of the day, he will feel and read people's hearts. And if they truly are hardened and don't want to come to him under any circumstance, then he will let them choose hell. But he might, I feel like he'll also show people his love. And if they convert right then and there, and they say, wow, this is the creator of the universe, I want to be with you forever, then they may very well be led into heaven.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
Wouldn't
It's
put it
God's
out of his
choice.
person. It's completely possible. Now, does that mean it's going to happen? No, but I feel like it's possible.
That's why it's important to keep your mind open, I guess, to the idea. Even if you're an atheist, I mean, God isn't out to get you. It's like the old argument of, oh, why would I worship a God that wants to send me to hell? Well, he doesn't want to send you to hell. He wants you to be with him. All he ever did was love you.
He wanted you so badly not to be in hell that he's already given us 3 chances.
And I mean, if you think God created you just so you're predetermined to go to hell, I mean that. Oh, what was I saying? You cut me off. I forgot my thought of train.
Yeah, I cut you off so badly.
Why do you always do this? You always cut me off, so I always forget what I was talking about. Unbelievable.
I hate you.
Hey man, love thy neighbor.
You live an hour and a half away from me.
Listen, man. Love thy neighbor, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You really are breaking a commandment right now. You understand that? You understand that?
All right, listen, you are like 5 feet away from me, Andrew.
Chat. Clip that. Chat.
Check, clip that. All right. It's okay. I think we reviewed that enough. I really do. I mean, bottom line, God loves you, man. He just wants to see you with
That's
him.
what I was gonna say. If you're so angry if you get mad at the fact that of hearing Jesus loves you, I don't know, man. I think you just need therapy at that point. Oh, somebody loves me?
Yeah,
I hate that.
it's an emotional issue.
Why are you biting me, animal?
But hey, GG lightning strikes.
GG lightning. I'm feeling pretty lightning strikes today.
All right. Next point is, why hasn't Jesus come back yet? I don't know, man.
Just didn't feel like it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you put that down. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I really don't have any. In my opinion, it's just not the right time,
Yeah.
and only he knows.
I mean, only the Father knows when the time is right, when the time is nigh. However, every generation thought that Jesus was going to come back soon. And didn't he promise to come? Didn't he promise to come back soon too?
I do not know.
Even if he did, that's relative. To God, time is relative. So soon,
Relative to eternity.
soon could mean tomorrow. Soon could mean 10,000 years. We don't know. Oh my days. However, we are seeing revelations of biblical prophecies as we speak now. We're going to talk about that in a later episode about the book of Revelation and how this time surely is the time that Jesus is coming back soon.
True.
It's got to be us this time, right?
Please.
The only
please,
answer,
Sky Daddy.
the only answer I have for that is that it is just not the right time. I don't know. I'm not God. I don't get to decide when he comes back.
True. Bless you.
Thank you. Do you even want to talk about the war topic? That's just like
not particularly. It's a very small niche argument where people say religion causes wars because the Crusades, and people use it as a justification, quote unquote. All that means is people will do whatever they can to rally troops and give morale, and religion is a very good way of doing that. So leaders abuse that. That's pretty much the explanation to it. And I mean, the other thing you can do is, if you want to make those people mad, which you probably shouldn't do, is say that atheism causes more wars, because Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Hitler was an atheist too. People will say he was a Christian because he wanted to kill the Jews. No, that was, again, just propaganda to get Christians on his side.
Anyway, yeah, the statistic is religion only caused about 7% of all the wars in all of history. It's just like the Crusades, and I don't know, like that's it. That's all it is.
Do you want to move on to the next one? We already addressed 13, so we'll go to 14. All right. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
did you know you're going to hell?
Because I ate bacon, right?
No, it's because you're wearing mixed fabrics,
Dang
you
it!
idiot.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to hell.
That is my favorite argument from the atheists is,
Did you?
Did you know that the Bible says you're not supposed to wear mixed fabrics, or you're not supposed to do this, or you're not supposed to do that?
oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, my dog is very annoying.
Yeah.
Hey.
We're almost done, dog.
Yep, and then we get to go home and you get to bug me myself.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
was I saying?
let me mute.
Did you know you're going to hell for wearing mixed fabrics?
Yeah. Gosh, I guess I better sacrifice a cow. Okay.
You could also sacrifice a lightning strike.
True. I love sacrificing lightning strikes. It's my favorite pastime.
Same. Okay. But yeah, the question that we have on there is, are we still under Mosaic law? I feel like this is a pretty easy one to answer. Most people have seen this and understand it. So during Mosaic law, there was 613 Mosaic laws. There was ceremonial, judicial, and moral law. Just to address it real quickly, we are no longer under ceremonial or judicial law. We are still under moral law. Not in the manner that we have to sacrifice if we break moral law, but we should follow moral law still.
And the reason that we're not under those laws anymore is because of the sacrifice of Jesus. Because he did not come to abolish the laws, but to fulfill them.
Yes, well
Now
put.
all of our foods are clean.
Yes, now I can eat shellfish.
Yes. And mint Oreos.
And I can get a tattoo. Speaking of which, we're getting matching tattoos.
Yes.
Whenever he gets a big boy job and can actually afford it.
Listen, man, we gotta get the crown of thorns. We gotta get the crown of thorns band on our forearm. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to break a commandment right now, chat.
Well, looks like you better sacrifice a lightning
Pray
strike.
for me. Pray for me.
Hey, would you rather for Christmas me just pay for that tattoo for us, or get you a present? 'Cause I told you I was gonna get you VR, so I can get you VR.
No, don't give me VR. Let's just get the tattoos.
Okay.
Anyways, is that it? I think that's
so.
all the things we talked about. If you do have any
We're gonna
questions,
have to sacrifice a cow whenever we get that.
I'm
tattoo, though.
sacrificing a lightning strike. Listen,
Okay. If you have any questions, continue.
If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comment section. That way we can address them to the best of our abilities. Now, disclaimer, we are not biblical scholars.
We're just Jesus fans.
We're just number one Jesus fans. Not to brag, but that's my father.
That is my father.
All right. This has been another episode of the Christ and Cigars podcast. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.